Kitco News special coverage of Paris Blockchain Week Summit is brought to you by Okra, permissioned DeFi composable index and strategy execution platform.
We're speaking now with Victor Olmo. He is the founder of New Tribe Capital, and we'll be talking about a very niche market that's not often discussed in our show, Web3. Welcome to the show, Victor.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. Let's talk about your investment fund first and your investment philosophy, and we'll get into the assets that you talk about, or invest in rather.
Perfect. So I started in crypto in 2014.
Yeah.
I entered in crypto through the back door, but I stayed for the right reasons.
What do you mean by that? Hold up.
I shouldn't be saying this live.
No, it's okay. Expand on what you mean.
I was an explorer of Silk Road back in 2014.
Explorer of Silk Road.
Yeah, so when you can get some stuff done, that it was.
I see. Oh, okay.
So that's how I entered into
I understand.
crypto. Obviously, people, they grow, and later on they become a little bit more focused on other things. And over the last 3 years, we became institutional.
Yeah.
And we decided to fund our company called New Tribe Capital. And we've done over 100 plus investment in very successful startups, focusing mainly on Web3, P2E, Metaverse, and DeFi as well. And all protocol layer 1 and layer 0 protocols.
What's your AUM now?
100 millions.
100 million. Now, why did you choose these spaces in particular? Very risky, very new, very untested.
Yes, it is. But if you check on history and how the markets have evolved through the centuries, you can see on the 18th century, before the way of making money was farmland. Then it evolved to stocks and urban real estate. And now there's a huge trend that is going to be digital assets. So when you see that clear, you just need to dive in and absorb as much information as possible and then make up a bet. And I think we did the right decision by investing in all digital assets.
Okay, Victor, tell me about Web3. Let's back up and give a definition, differences between Web 2.0, which is what we have now, and Web 3.
Yeah, I can actually go a little bit behind as well.
Please.
So Web 1, as you already know, is actually a net where the user is only receiving information. There you have Yahoo. Then it evolved to Web 2.0, and you have applications like Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, where you can actually upload your own information. Now, from that aspect has evolved much further into Web 3. And from my point of view, Web3 is actually a tool that can give all the users the ability to control the information that they want to share, how they want to share, with who they want to share, and also a way of earning as well. So it's not just you're a member of a Web3, Web2 platform, and you're earning money through a different applications. Now you're actually controlling how you are getting the money straight away from the application.
So it's a more decentralized internet.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm just going to give you some counter arguments. Now, we've had tech billionaires argue against Web3, as you know. Elon Musk has been vocal, calling it just a buzzword. Jack Dorsey thinks there's nothing decentralized about it. It's just going to be owned by venture capitalists by yourself. And you're going to control, you and the other VCs are going to control it. So he's arguing that, look, Web3 is just another step in the evolution of tech that's ultimately going to end up in the hand of capitalists, and nothing different from the other technological innovations we've had.
I don't agree with that. It's already making a change in the world. Like you can see the communities in Philippines and Indonesia, how they're actually making a living out of Web3 already. So
how are they doing that?
Play to earn.
Oh, yes.
So like, for example, Axie Infinity, half of the, so there are two very good aspects of play to earn. One of them is bringing adoption to our space. So half of the users of Axie Infinity, they had no idea about crypto. Now, people that they actually needed the money, they are actually having the chance to earn while they are having fun. So if you take a game, for example, like PUBG or Fortnite, they've made about $2 billion in revenue, and that revenue was never given back to the community. So in our space, the community who's actually playing, some of them to have fun, some of them to earn and make a living, are actually being rewarded with that kind of money. So it's actually a very good thing. So whether they say that it's going to be a venture capital space controlled by them, I mean, they get a point, but at the end already it's making a change in the world. So there are very, very good things and important things about Web3.
What are some of the biggest, I guess, socioeconomic problems in the world that you think Web3 or new future developments and technology can fix?
I would be, would say the kind of share of wealth around the world. So there's going to be a shift in all, it has happened over the centuries. There's going to be a shift between all money to, it's going to be spread to the new communities. And has happened, as I said, through all the centuries, and again it's going to happen now. It's one of the ways that a capitalistic society has to redistribute wealth.
Do you think we're maybe moving towards more inequality with access to information, access to technology? The wealthier are able to control wealth on a more centralized level, while the rest of the population, I guess, get left behind even more. Actually, in other words, it's easier for investors to become wealthier and widen the wealth gap.
So this is one of the things very important for Web3 and NFTs, for example. I'm sure your mom and your dad have always told you that you need to buy a house.
Sure.
But how many people can actually buy a house?
Sure.
How many of the students are actually able to have an asset with, like let's say 100,000 euro? Not many people has the chance. However, lowering down the scale on an asset class gives the chance to everyone to participate now in these kind of assets. So whether we like it or not, it is a trend that is happening. Digital assets are becoming a trend more than the traditional assets. Gold, stocks. Actually, Robinhood did an amazing thing as well, bringing stocks for everyone. So I believe that Web3 and NFTs is actually a good step for the average individual that it's working and studying at the same time and doesn't have this 100,000 euros to pay for an apartment. So I think, in my opinion, real estate, which this is my background, they're going to become a thing of the past.
Okay, I have a lot of questions about real estate, especially virtual real estate. Okay, let's talk about that. Look, my argument to what you just said is, if I were your dad, I would say, Victor, stop wasting money on NFTs. Save it, buy a real house. You can't buy a house. Okay, save your money.
Well, in my case, it was actually a similar situation. My mom, my dad always encouraged me to buy an apartment.
Yeah.
I didn't buy one. I bought many. I had to keep myself busy. So what I was actually doing was I was buying apartments, refurbish them, and then selling them. Okay. So this is I made some money. But if I was born again, I would definitely not buy an apartment. Why? Because the trend is here to stay. In the last 15, 20 years, people have been obsessed with digital. Are you able to spend one day without your phone? You're not. It's practically impossible. Why? Because your phone makes your life much, much easier. And this is what people are still struggling to see, the potential of digital markets. And I can say that within the next 10 to 15 years, this is going to be huge as well. So there's going to be a lot of different companies, like Uber. Who would have thought about Uber 10 years ago? How easier is to make our life is how easy is our life now because of that app? It's extremely easy.
Well, you said if you were to start all over again, you wouldn't buy real estate, you would buy something else. What would that be?
I would buy Bitcoin.
Bitcoin?
Yeah, in 2019.
Okay. I mean, look, yeah, all right. Look, looking back is always, hindsight is always 2020. I tell my friends sometimes, I bought my first condo in 2014, okay? If I had taken the total value of that condo, I couldn't afford it in cash, obviously I took a mortgage, but just the total value of that condo, if I had put it in Bitcoin, assuming I don't sell it, which is, in reality I would have, but assuming I held it, I would be worth 64 million right now, and I'm not. So, yeah, I mean, hindsight's always 2020. Yeah, I don't want to buy real estate, I buy Bitcoin. So what is your thesis behind Bitcoin? I was expecting to say NFTs, but I mean...
So, Bitcoin is actually the best digital store of value that there is out there. So if you see the chart, you don't need to go very far. Just check the buying power of the dollar. The only thing it's been doing in the last 100 years has been depreciating. So maybe 100 years ago, with $100, you could even buy an apartment. But now, what can you buy? A couple of chewing gums, and that's it. However, with Bitcoin, the value is appreciating non-stop. Why? Because people are believing in it. Nations like Argentina, where the their economy, their peso has been depreciated 95%. Lebanon as well, Brazil. These are all people that they actually have seen their life savings totally cut by half, or sometimes by 90%, which is actually quite sad that if your grandma has been saving all her life, suddenly because of the depreciation of the currency is there, now all her life savings are pretty much gone.
Wait, so why do you think Bitcoin is going to keep appreciating? It has in the last 13 years. Why would it keep doing that?
Because of the trend. You can see now, we also mine Bitcoin. We are not selling any Bitcoin. So we see the charts, we see we're coming down, and we don't speculate with it. We believe in an asset which is going to be able to provide value for a very, very long term. So if you see and if you have that kind of view, you don't really pay attention of how the Bitcoin is doing or not. You actually are there for the long term. And like me, it's going to be many, many other people. One of the best important parts of Bitcoin is the decentralization part of it. So nowadays, it's proven that you don't need a third party or a banking system to provide you with cash. You can be totally decentralized and having an asset value class which will provide value for many, many, many years to come.
Bitcoin is decentralized. Bitcoin has provided a solution to many of our world economic problems. That is true. But would you buy a house with Bitcoin?
Definitely.
Would you though? Because think about it. Why would you spend money or buy a property, let's say, that may not appreciate at the same pace as the Bitcoin with which you just bought it? Wouldn't the seller have a better deal in this case?
Well, it depends what you want to do. What do you want to achieve? Do you want to achieve a return, higher returns, or would you want to achieve a transaction to make things easier? It depends what you want to do. If you want to make money, I wouldn't even buy a house. I wouldn't sell my Bitcoin. But if you, let's say, for example, you don't have any other means that to buy it with Bitcoin, then yes, for sure, it's a mean of payment as well. But as I said, buying a house at the moment, in my opinion, is not the most clever thing to do. But at the same time, for everyone watching, diversification is actually the key for success. So it's not only about Bitcoin or NFT.
Yes.
It's actually to have a quite wide portfolio of assets. If you want to, some people they live above their means,
yes,
and they don't have the future in mind, which is totally respectful. It's something, it's a way of life. But I come from a background that we actually see the tomorrow, and we try to plant a tree to be able to collect the fruits later on. Bitcoin, it's that tree for me, in my opinion.
Interesting. I want to talk about the marriage of the two, real estate and Bitcoin. So virtual real estate in the metaverse. Okay, I had a friend who is not, let's say, a true believer of either of these things, and he commented on this. He said to me, okay, so I'm on a date with a girl, right? So I wanted to say, let's come home with me at the end of the night. And she's all excited. And then I say to her, oh, wait a minute. I don't have physical real estate. I have a house in the metaverse. Nothing is happening that night. He says, this is useless.
There's nothing happening that night, but I'm sure that girl will remember in the next 10 years about that guy and why nothing happened that night.
Why?
Why? Because adoption is not here yet. We are what, 8 billion people in the world at the moment? Yeah. It's only 300 million people into crypto. Half of them are speculators. They actually want to have this quick back.
I think he was talking more about the utility of, let's say, a virtual asset, a virtual real estate property in this case. What's the point?
What's the point? So I tell you, there are many different projects which actually are having a nice business model, which basically are allowing the owner to rent that virtual asset to provide some certain, events or sessions, cinema, fashion shows, etc. So we are going to get into the metaverse one way or another. I don't know if you watched the movie Ready Player One from Steven Spielberg.
No, it's on my watch list. Yes.
So I think we will end up something like that.
Okay.
Because actually,
well, just for the viewers who haven't seen that movie, what is that?
It's actually a movie about the metaverse and the future,
okay,
and how one of the founders dies and he leaves some clues in order to get an egg, and the person that finds the egg is actually going to be one of the wealthiest people in the world. Okay. It's actually quite an interesting movie. Yes. It's a must watch. Yes. And You know how everything that in science fiction a few years ago, it's actually happening in reality now.
So, where's the flying cars? No flying cars.
Not yet, but you have self-driven cars.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. And now you can go swimming with some goggles, which are actually telling you where you are.
Yes.
Or you have a smartwatch actually telling you, hey, you're having a heart attack.
So you think virtual reality is next?
It is next.
Like the Matrix?
Not like the Matrix, but it is a submerged reality where you actually have feel and taste from the digital world. And you can be anyone. So you can actually, there are people that are very introvert, and when they put that avatar on, that mask on, they become a different person. Now there are games about, court laws, and courtrooms, and they're actually quite funny. So it's actually a world that people will explore more and more and more. In the 90s, there were 11 million people with cell phones. Do you know how many people has a smartphone at the moment?
Let me guess. At least 3 billion?
Much more than
More than that?
97% of the population, 98%.
No way.
I swear. It's about 7.3 billion people, they have a smartphone. And this is just from the 90s. So the potential is here. Some people don't want to see it. I tell you, there is one of the reasons which I always encourage people, if you want to be your own bank, you need to be your own security. So you always hear stories which are true about people how they went into crypto and they lost a lot of money.
Yes.
Some of them, their life savings. So now I wouldn't tell anyone to invest. I would say to educate themselves. It's a different story. Like I didn't go, crazy and went into crypto and put all my money there. No, it was nothing like that. I spent hours and hours of research and understanding first the technology, the values, and then going deep dive on the investment side of things. For whoever is watching and is not into crypto, my only advice would be educate yourself. Yes. There is a lot of really, really good content out there where you can be safe, understand the technology, and make up your mind where you actually want to put your money.
I think critics of your fund might say, well, Victor, maybe it's too early to invest in Web3. Maybe it's too early to invest in the metaverse. We haven't seen that mass adoption like you're talking about yet. So why are you getting in now?
I would rather get now before than the mass adoption come, right?
Fair enough. So you're very confident it will come.
For sure.
Okay. Finally, let's talk about, going back to what you said, you need a wide, diverse portfolio of assets. So we've talked about the things you like in the metaverse, in Web3. What other assets do you like outside of that space?
So I have a large sum of investment in mutual funds in the US. I have a property real estate company back home. And I'm in the blink of buying gold because of the situation that is happening around the world, but I'm still not, haven't decided.
Can you comment on, let's say your mutual funds, the sectors of stocks you like right now? What kinds of stocks do well in our current environment? Maybe what doesn't do well?
Technology is doing very well. Yeah. Green energies, they're doing very well. That's the two main mutual funds that I invest in at the moment.
If somebody were to say to you, Victor, I think you're a futurist, would you agree with that statement?
I would say yes. Of course. I mean, people that they have the vision of what is about to happen, like all the geniuses that they make movies, books, etc. They actually have that future vision of what is about to come. So maybe not a futurist, but an open-minded person that can see the trend. For sure.
Okay. Well, please don't buy up all the Web3 or else Jack Dorsey is going to be right. Thank you so much, Victor.
Pleasure to having us here.
And thank you for watching Kitco News.
Kitco News special coverage of Paris Blockchain Week Summit is brought to you by Okra, permissioned DeFi composable index and strategy execution platform.